Well, hello and welcome back to the Unboxed Advisors YouTube channel. I'm Catherine. We're going to be discussing today the new IRS threshold concerning Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. These three apps are fabulous for transferring money with our apps. We all love our cell phones, but the IRS is cracking down on small business tax fraud and money laundering activities. We've already seen this through the Corporate Transparency Act. If you've not seen that video, go and check it out on our channel. But we're seeing the IRS hire thousands of new revenue agents, cracking down, instituting new acts, rules, policies. And now here's another one that is taking place, and that is limiting the threshold for a $600 limit on goods and services through these cash applications. Okay, so what this really means is we have enjoyed prior years of a $20,000 limit, a calendar limit of goods and services that we could receive funds for through our Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. Now in 2023, for this calendar year for goods and services, that cap is now $600. Not for the transaction, not for the month, but for the entire calendar year. So those who have received funds over $600 using these cash apps, PayPal, Venmo, they will be subject to filling out an additional tax form called a Form 1099-K. This 1099-K, of course, is going to charge you more money for, TurboTax, or with a traditional CPA, they're going to charge you a little bit more money for doing this. So your operational expenses just went up, and it's going to flow through to your individual tax return, your 1040. It's going to show up on your Schedule C. So it's also made your taxes a little bit more complicated to work through. So who all is going to be subject to this? So those who, again, goods and services. So if you were a college kid or a high school kid that said, hey, during summer break, I'm going to do a mobile car detailing, side hustle. If you have received over $600 in these cash apps, you will be subject to a 1099-K. Also, if you hosted a garage sale and you had furniture that you bought 8, 10, 12 years ago that now you have sold in a garage sale, and it was for, $700, the IRS is going to want on their 1099-K all of the receipts. The IRS says, hey, you just have to pay taxes on your profits, right? Well, if you can't prove, then they will charge you guilty until proven innocent. Anyone who has ever been through an IRS audit will tell you it takes a lot of time. There's a lot of stress that goes into this. It costs more money, and it's generally not a very fun activity to go through. So keep yourself out of an IRS audit by knowing these new rules and adhering to them. So here are some tips and tricks for you just to consider. So if you enjoy using these cash apps, ensure that those who are sending you the funds, when they're using an app like PayPal, they have the opportunity to categorize the transaction they're sending the funds for. They can select goods and service. So again, if the mobile detailing, or, selling the furniture, that is a good or service. However, they can also select gifts. And that's really important to talk about, that gifts are not subject to the $600 rule. So when you're sending, $100 to your sister for her birthday, or you and a group of people went in on a larger ticket item for a boss or a coworker or your parents, and you want to split that off in Venmo, that is not under the $600 limit. You can still do that. Christmas is coming up. When you have those big purchases, feel free to go ahead and to split those up amongst several individuals. That is not subject to the $600 rule. The other thing, or the other item that I personally use my Venmo for a lot, which is splitting the tab. You go out to dinner with a group of friends and you're just going to split the tab and use Venmo, that also is not subject to this $600 rule. It is really, that rule is for those who, it's for business purposes. There is a good or service that is being sold or provided. That is what this rule is really catching. So, if you're a freelancer or enjoy that gig work, really think through the use of these cash apps. Now, one caveat to this is if you love your apps, they're super convenient. I love them too, is to use the app Zelle. Zelle, because of its uniqueness that it actually talks to the other banks and talks to financial institutions, it is not considered a third-party application. So those transactions that are used through Zelle are not subject to the $600 rule. It is just for Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. So that is an important distinction. And I would be remiss if I didn't remind you that cash is king. Cash is always king. So get cash or offer a cash payment when you can. That's going to save the headache of perhaps a 1099-K, making your taxes more difficult, and from you having to dig out all of those receipts. So, if you are a taxpayer this year, go through your transactions on your Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, making sure that all of those are categorized correctly, and things that are going to fall under this rule, you have the receipts to back it up that this was that we did purchase the furniture 10 years ago and now we're selling it, and we're selling it for a loss. Those are all really important things to itemize and have in your back pocket. Now, this rule of the $600 limit, it was supposed to be initiated the prior year in 2022's tax year, but it wasn't. They just couldn't get the deal done. The politicians just couldn't make it close. Well, they did make it close this year. However, everyone's kind of looking around going, wait. Hold on a second. Hold on. It went from 20,000 for the calendar year to 600. Holy guacamole. So there is conversations of, can we get that back up to 10,000? Can we meet ourselves in the middle someplace? So that is in the works. There are conversations about it, but with the current events and the initiatives that are being taken place by the IRS, they have bigger fish to fry. So expect that this rule is here to stay for the moment. Be prepared for in January, if you get slapped with a 1099-K, be heads up, get your documentation ready. So that is the scoop on what you need to be prepared for. Please consider subscribing, and I'll be back with you with another video. All right, bye-bye, y'all.